We are dealing with advanced technology.
I'm very close to the cutting edge in AI, and it scares the hell out of me.
Artificial intelligence is a subject that captures the imagination of many people. Of course, this is largely due to the numerous Hollywood movies that have been made about this subject. Hollywood movies frequently depict grim future scenarios that are reminiscent of science fiction. However, a rising number of worrying claims have appeared on artificial intelligence, which has been fueled by the qualitative growth surge of this new technology. These reports are almost always overstated, but despite this, there has been an increasing number of them. However, recent information presented at a press conference by a well-known journalist and a Stanford University alumnus has left the entire world in utter disbelief. What exactly did she say that took everyone by surprise, and what does this mean for the development of AI in the future? Stick around till the end to get all the details about this shocking revelation. Autonomous weapons, also known as killer robots, are military robots that can search for and aim at targets autonomously based on pre-programmed instructions. And almost every technologically advanced country in the world is working on developing these robots. Indeed, a senior executive at a Chinese defense company stated that future wars would not be fought by humans and that the use of lethal autonomous weapons was inevitable. However, having these weapons poses numerous risks. What if they go rogue and kill innocent people? What if they can't tell the difference between their targets and innocent people and kill them by mistake? Who would then be held accountable for the situation? An even bigger issue would arise if these killer robots are developed by governments that have no regard for human life. Then destroying these robots would be quite difficult. With these issues in mind, it was decided in 2018 that autonomous robots would still require a final command from a human before attacking. However, as technology advances, this problem may become exponentially worse. However, that same year, in 2018, renowned journalist Linda Moulton Howe revealed something shocking and bizarre to the entire world. Her story and press conference she held were quickly removed from the internet, but they have since reappeared and are circulating once again online. Howe, a Stanford graduate and former Miss Idaho, won awards for her work at Denver, Atlanta, and Boston television stations in the 1970s and 1980s. But somewhere along the way, she developed an interest in UFOs and conspiracy theories. During the press conference, she stated the following: "At a top robotics company in Japan this week, 4 robots being developed for military applications killed 29 humans in the lab." It only gets worse from here. Howe's voice was trembling at this point, but she continued. "The scariest part is that lab workers deactivated 2 of the robots and took apart the 3rd, but the 4th robot began restoring itself and somehow connected to an orbiting satellite to download information about how to rebuild itself even more strongly than before." Her speech was delivered in February 2018 and it was quickly removed from the internet. According to The Independent, the video of Howe's speech was viewed more than 100,000 times on Twitter before being removed. The very same week, it so happens, a mysterious drone, or drones, repeatedly dive-bombed London's Gatwick Airport, forcing the airport to close for more than a day. To be sure, Howe's robot massacre story is difficult for any rational person to swallow. It's based on a phone interview she had with someone claiming to be from the CIA, who told her, "This is serious shit, Linda, but you're not going to hear about it in the news." Many viewers who saw the video were skeptical that this could actually happen. However, in another interview, she explains in detail how she obtained this information and who the whistleblower was who first relayed this information to her. In the video, she also discusses how Elon Musk was aware of these types of experiments and warned the world before the incident occurred. Howe also believes that space aliens have visited Earth numerous times, but she is more concerned about Earthling-created robots. She claims that the scientists' massacre has been kept quiet because the robotics company has too much to lose and the government wants AI robot soldiers. This may be a conspiracy theory, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be concerned. Robots may not have secretly murdered a group of Japanese scientists, but that could change. Billionaire Elon Musk, for example, believes AI could one day be the very real threat to humanity. As AI gets probably much smarter than humans, the relative intelligence ratio is probably similar to that between a person and a cat, maybe bigger, Musk said recently. I do think we need to be very careful about the advancement of AI. Aside from this, have robots, AI ever killed a human? During the civil war in Libya in March of 2020, several major media outlets reported that AI-equipped drones may have attacked fleeing militias, chasing them while they were out of human control and attacking them. According to a report by a UN Security Council panel of experts, the drone used was called Kargu-2 and it was manufactured by STM, a Turkish military company that was intervening militarily in the civil war. And if this information is correct, this would be the first time in history that an attack was carried out without human intervention. Using facial recognition and artificial intelligence, this newly developed Turkish quadcopter drone is thought to be capable of finding, tracking, and killing human targets on its own. According to the UN report, the Kargu-2 are autonomous killer weapons that are programmed to attack targets without the need for data communication with an operator. It implies that they were used as killer robots. The report also stated that when the Libyan interim government attacked a military organization, an autonomous lethal weapon system, LAWS, tracked the attack. According to the report, this LAWS was programmed to attack targets without being connected to a human operator, implying that the attack was carried out by an AI. While artificial intelligence can make a significant contribution to the world, it can also assist terrorists in carrying out terrorist attacks. Many terrorist organizations are already using drones to carry out attacks in other countries. In fact, ISIS launched its first successful drone attack in 2016, killing 2 people in Iraq. If thousands of drones were launched from a single truck or car with programming to kill only a particular sort of people, it would be a terrifying type of terrorist attack aided by technology. Terrorist organizations could also use autonomous vehicles to deliver and explode bombs or develop guns that can track movement and fire without the assistance of humans. These guns are already being used on the border between North and South Korea. Another concern is that terrorists will gain access to and use the killer robots mentioned above. While governments may still be ethical and try to protect innocent people, terrorists will have no such morals and will use these robots in terror attacks. One of Turing's colleagues during his wartime code-breaking work at Bletchley Park, computer scientist Irving John I.J. Good, stated in 1965 that if we succeeded in creating an ultra-intelligent machine that could far surpass all the intellectual activities of any man, there would be an intelligence explosion. According to Good, such a device would be the last invention that man needs to make. And if movie fantasies like the Terminator series are to be believed, it may be the last invention we ever create. Such gloom and doom is not limited to Hollywood. Stephen Hawking warned in 2014 that the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race, and Elon Musk has warned that AI may be our greatest existential threat. Another risk of AI is the elimination of human jobs. As artificial intelligence advances, it will inevitably take over jobs that were previously performed by humans. According to a McKinsey Global Institute report, around 800 million jobs could be lost globally due to automation by 2030. But then the question arises, what about the people who are out of work as a result of this? Some people believe that artificial intelligence will create many jobs, which will help to balance the scales. People may be able to transition from physical and repetitive jobs to jobs that require creative and strategic thinking. People may also have more time to spend with their friends and family if they have less physically demanding jobs. However, this is more likely to happen to people who are already educated and come from a privileged background. This could widen the gap between rich and poor even more. If robots are employed in the workforce, this means that they don't need to be paid like human employees. As a result, the owners of AI-driven companies will reap all of the profits and become even wealthier, while the humans who were replaced will become even poorer. As a result, a new societal setup will be required to ensure that all humans can earn money even in this scenario. It is an unfortunate fact that humans can be prejudiced against other religions, genders, nationalities, and so on, and this bias may unconsciously enter into the artificial intelligence system created by humans. It is also possible for the bias to seep into the systems as a result of the flawed data that is generated by humans. Amazon, for example, recently discovered that their machine learning-based recruiting algorithm was biased against women. This algorithm was developed using the number of resumes submitted and candidates hired over the previous 10 years. Because the majority of the candidates were men, the algorithm favored men over women. In a separate incident, Google Photos incorrectly identified 2 African Americans as gorillas using facial recognition. This was a clear indication of racial bias, as the algorithm labeled humans incorrectly. So the question is, how do we deal with this bias? How to ensure that artificial intelligence is not racist or sexist as some humans are? The only way to deal with this is for AI researchers to manually try to remove bias while developing, training, and selecting data. In other words, we should make machines that will constantly be asking, am I doing this right? Is this satisfactory? Do you want me to continue? We need to build AI systems that are aware that they do not know the true goal, even though it is what they must pursue. Let us know what you think about the dangers of AI in the comments section below.